This is Don't Panic, episode number 198, recorded April 9th, 2018. Chips Ahoy! Hello, everybody, and welcome to this episode of Don't Panic, the technology podcast on Gadgets.you. I'm Sean Jang, joined as always by our very own spring flower, Mr. Dan Miller. Hey, did I get it? Did I get it right?
That's what people call me.
All right, Dan the spring flower Miller.
That's right. I'm ready to see some spring flowers. The trees are trying. They're trying to bloom here in Brooklyn, but it's not happening.
No, understandably so. It's confusing.
Were the flowers blooming in Chicago?
Oh my God! Well, no, it was fucking freezing in Chicago. It was so cold. Hey, look! Joining us on the show right now, we started without
live on location.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with my audio settings are freaking out. They're just freaking out.
Well, we do hear and see you, so I guess that still counts.
Yeah, hang on. I'll be right. Well, actually, I'm just gonna switch headphones.
Okay.
That's a problem.
Our very own Colby Rabidou is going to switch his headphones. Yes, thank you, Dan. I was in Chicago last week for business. I had never been to Chicago. Business. I was making it happen.
Wow. I saw you on the golf course. You hit the what do they call it? Hit the links? What's the?
That's right, actually. You do hit
Is
the
that
links
right?
in golf.
Okay.
Yes. That wasn't even like a lame geek joke. That was like you actually nailed it. No, actually, have you ever done Topgolf?
No, I don't even know what Topgolf is.
What a great tech
angle. Is it like
angle.
Top Chef?
No, believe it or not, it's not like Top Chef. No, Topgolf, the way it works is there are that typing is very loud. You've been warned. You've been warned. No, all of the golf ball. It's a driving range, which I'm sure you're familiar. You just hit the ball as far as you can.
Yep,
but all the balls have computer chips in them, RFID, I assume. And throughout the range are these targets, and you get points based on where your ball lands, but it's all computerized.
That's crazy.
So it knows that it's your ball and where it lands, and so you hit it, it goes way out, lands somewhere. You can barely even see where it landed because it's so far out. I'm that good at golf. But the computer adds up all the math for you, and so it'll say ding, and it shows a little graph of where your ball. It's very neat, very high tech.
Oh, cool.
But I'm not good at golf in any way. I was by far the worst, so that was
You said it was a driving range?
Yes.
Mm.
Yep. No, real golf, forget about it. Not gonna Never.
I've never real golfed. I went to a driving range one time. I've also never mini golfed. Fun fact.
Really? Okay,
so you haven't golfed in any sense of the word.
No. I
right.
led a sheltered life.
The Don't Panic spring retreat. We're gonna do axe throwing, mini golf,
and rock climbing,
and then we'll top it off with another escape the room.
Yes, and we'll go to Avatar Land, and it'll just be a nice time. That was before the show.
It's going to be a national sort of review. We're going to do each of these in different part of the country.
Yep, it will be extravagant, to say the least.
Axe throwing in North Dakota.
I don't think there's much else to do there.
Rock climbing in
New York City, famed for their rocks. Yeah, so what's going on with you gentlemen? What's new?
I don't know. Last week,
Speaking
lots of work stuff. I made some cocktails.
Nice. Any new recipes?
Oh yes, all new recipes. But I can't share it yet. It's
secret recipe. It's the 11 herbs and spices of Dan's drinks.
Not so much a secret recipe. It's just at the moment it's kind of a bad recipe.
So are you creating like your own signature cocktail? Is that the idea?
No, I'm imitating someone else's signature cocktail.
All right.
That's really like step one into being able to create your own signature cocktails.
Well, imitation is the sincerest form of flattery.
Right. And they should be flattered.
Yeah, they better be.
Geez, that's pretty much it. Easter happened.
That's true.
I watched some TV shows over the past 2 weeks, one of which we'll talk about. And maybe, actually, you know what? I'm not going to bring those up because I might need picks over the next couple weeks, so I'm going to save those.
It's a good idea. I keep my picks in my to-do list thing.
I started to do that, but you know what? I should continue to do that. Good idea, Colby.
Yep, it mostly works.
Yeah, it's only as good as what you put into it.
That's
like most things in life.
It's pretty.
Sean, do you have a to-do list app?
You know, I've tried them over the years, and oh my god, you guys are going to be so ashamed. This is, I swear to God, this is totally true. The best organizational system I've managed to put together for myself, most of my to-dos are at the office, or at least that's where I remember to do things, so I have to record them. Because I'm green and environmental, I take things I've printed, because I do print some amount of stuff, and I tear it up into 4 pieces of paper, and then that's my scrap paper, and I have a stack of it about that high on my desk. And my desk is covered in these just little scraps of paper with notes just furiously handwritten all over them. I do it here just with note cards. They're too cheap to buy me.
Oh, you got a 3x5 card?
Dan, I literally have a stack of them here on my desk. There you go. And I just loose papers everywhere. I must look like an insane person at the office because it's all these little scraps of paper.
You mean with the string guy from Always Sunny?
Yes, exactly. Yes. It's not a good look for me. I look like a lunatic. So I should probably get an app. But the problem is I've done the app things before, and it's just so much easier to grab a piece of paper and write something quick than it is to use an app. I think.
Now, if you have your Siri on your phone, one thing Siri is actually good at is setting up tasks and like reminders and to-do things. And if you have a Mac, which I believe you do, you can turn Siri into the text-only mode and use it to write down, like, remind me to do this.
Well, the issue I have is almost none of my to-dos are timed.
They don't have to be.
No, it still works well if there's no deadline.
Because
then it's not. It's more of a to-do than a reminder.
Right.
At that point.
That's true.
I live everything on the cool and breezy, Dan. Nothing's due anytime. Okay, it's just whenever you get to it is a-okay. I'm the Jimmy Buffett of the office.
You're
that'd be a cool,
unwind relaxing.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Exactly.
I feel like Sean. That'd be a great like office like productivity consultant persona for you.
Yes, like,
the Jimmy Buffett of personal productivity.
Yep. Yeah, that's a A+ brand.
It is a brand.
Well, that's sweet. And Colby, you're in New York City as well.
I am. I'm back.
Did you break into someone's home to do the show?
No. Like this is a hotel room.
Like the EPA guy.
That's a very decorated.
It has weird, like, abstract art on the wall.
I genuinely thought that was an Airbnb. That was why I cracked that joke. I'm very surprised.
I think they'd probably. I assume they'd be pleased that you thought it was an Airbnb. It is like weirdly spacious for a New York hotel room. Like, I feel like this is double the size of the last hotel room I had here.
Mm-hmm.
They give you the executive suite?
No, I don't think so. There is no natural light that comes into this room, as far as I can tell.
It's the dungeon suite.
Yeah. I guess maybe that's a thing. I don't know. Apparently in Stockholm, it's relatively common that hotel rooms are below ground because for half the year the sun doesn't go down. So it helps you sleep.
And that's a good point. And geothermal heating.
Right. The best of both worlds.
All right. So it's been 2 weeks.
Yes.
So I'm sure we have tons and tons of tech news.
No, I felt so guilty going through because it's, the problem is there's a lot of tech news, But we're very picky on this program.
Right. We only show the best.
Oh yeah, no, this is
You don't
highly
want to waste your
curated.
time.
All right, this is a personalized experience. Okay, we use the finest in artificial intelligence to custom tailor. What most people don't realize, guys, is that every listener gets a different show. The stories are individually tailored to your needs.
Wait, does this mean that the original Dan, Sean, and Colby made like an AI to like create their responses to these stories, and that we're all just robots?
We've been dead for years, Dan.
This
is we captured our likenesses to be used in perpetuity to deliver the most relevant and up-to-date tech news to our listeners every week. And although sometimes we're not here, which is weird. I don't know why we take weeks off. We're
part of the con. Weeks off originally, so it's all for the purposes of realism.
Yeah, real people wouldn't still be doing the show after 200 episodes. That would be crazy. Nope, not a chance.
Oh dear.
But yes, Dan, we do have a couple stories in here, and if there are stories that aren't in the rundown that you want to talk about, we certainly can as well. But there aren't a lot. So where would you guys like to start?
Did we even talk about the Apple event our last episode?
No, because it was on Tuesday, so we just missed it. Did
we like preempt? Did we predict things about it? Did we hype it up?
Yeah, we did a little.
I don't even remember talking about it.
Yeah, no, we did a little. Colby, why are you playing with the Skype emoji? It's like a big thumbs up suddenly comes up on the screen.
No, it didn't do anything. When I clicked the button, it didn't do anything on my screen.
Oh, no.
That's why I kept clicking the button.
No, there was like a big thumbs up over your face and then a big heart over your face. It's very odd.
That sounds odd.
I'm glad Skype is working on those important updates. Add a lot of value. So yeah, we can talk about the education event. You know, I think we did a smidge of a preview, but I don't remember what we said or what we talked about. So
well, that's fine.
We can dig right in.
I'm sure our preview is more exciting.
Oh no, as everything we do is. So Apple's education event happened last week out in Chicago. I just missed it. I did get to see the fancy new Apple store in Chicago. That was exciting.
Oh yeah, like built into a fountain or something?
It is a lot. You know, the angles they take all those cool photos of it from make it look, it's not that big. It looks really big in the photos. It's like the size of a regular Apple store. Like, I thought it was going to be, maybe it's because you see through the glass, so it, like, looks bigger, and they would shoot it really low, so it looks really, it's just like I mean, it's nice looking, but it's not as big as you'd think.
It's like apartment listing photos, like they use a wide angle lens so that the 250 square foot studio apartment looks 2 to 3 times as large.
You said this was a 2-bedroom Apple store. Not a chance at these prices. So let's talk about what they announced, starting with the hardware. A new iPad. We talked about this. The cheaper iPad. We said, how cheap does a cheap iPad have to go for it to be valued to schools? The good news, guys, they've discounted it by $30. That's right. The $329 iPad is now $299. But for that $299, you get an iPad now with stylus support, supporting the Apple Pencil and the new Crayon stylus, which we'll talk about in a second. It will also include Touch ID, FaceTime camera, rear camera, A10 Fusion chip, 10 hours of battery life with an LTE version as well. It's $299 for schools, but if you want to go out and buy one, you certainly can for $329, the same price as the old 9.7 inch.
And is this exactly the same as an iPad Pro except for the screen now at this point?
That's a really good question, Dan. I actually don't know what the exact feature breakdown is between these. It's very confusing.
Yeah.
Now. So I'm going to go to their website because right now, according to Apple, there's the 12.9 inch Pro, the 10.5 inch Pro, and then this iPad and the Mini, which I cannot believe they still make. But yeah, no, the camera, there's a 4K camera in Well, they claim 4K. I don't know how good 4K it is. There's a better camera in the Pro. There's a better chip because it's the A10X that's in the Pro.
Okay, but not 5.
I'm trying to think of what else, but that's kind of obviously the display's bigger.
And how much cheaper is it?
And the True Tone.
It's a lot cheaper, right, than the Pro.
Yeah, so let's just say you're getting the baseline, whatever the smallest gigabyte size is in Wi-Fi. We just said $329 for the regular iPad. The 10.5-inch Pro is $649, so you're talking at almost twice as much. And then the 12.9 is $800. So it is a big update on that.
That's a good deal.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, $299 is certainly a cheaper price. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, is it? It's kind of dumb because we were all expecting a cheap iPad, and we got, I guess, a slightly better iPad for slightly less cost. I don't know. Do you guys think $299 is an attractive price?
It's more attractive. I thought.
Yeah.
I don't. And I'm not a school, so
Wait,
I don't
what?
really understand.
Huh?
Well.
You sure?
I would go to the Dan Miller College of.
You've all been going to the Dan Miller College for the past 2 minutes.
I was gonna say he's been schooling us for a long time.
No, I was considering getting one. I have an iPad Air 2, so it's kind of crufty at this point, but to be honest, it works fine. I don't play any games on it, so it doesn't need to be super fancy. I do really want to try it, like having an Apple Pencil, but that's probably just going to be a waste of money, and I'll use it for like a week and never use it again.
I use my Apple Pencil for D&D planning. That's what I use it for.
And that's a pretty cool use case.
All those maps, Apple Pencil.
What was I going to say? I thought that the 10.3-inch size or whatever the smallest iPad Pro size is was just going to be the size of iPads from now on. So I was surprised. I thought they were going to release a cheaper, less powerful 10.3-inch size. It's kind of crazy that they have 4 different iPad sizes now.
Yeah, and screen size, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, but
plus 3 different phone screen sizes. Well, if you count the ones that they're currently making. Supported iPads is probably 4 or 5 or iPhones probably 4 or 5 different screen sizes. That's a lot more than it was. I don't know if like the 5S still counts as supported.
What are the different There's the
8, the 8 Plus, and the iPhone 10 are all different screen resolutions.
No, I'm sorry. I meant iPads. Like
the Mini, this 9.7-inch, the Pro 10.5, and the Pro 12.7.
Oh, so the Pro iPad. I have the smaller iPad Pro. That's
the
different screen size than the other ones.
Yep, 10.5. Yeah, the resolution and sort of ratio is slightly different.
Man, I forgot.
Yeah,
I'm not qualified to be on this podcast at all.
Get out of town. Get out of here. No, and Dan, actually, I'll remind you, they still manufacture the iPhone SE, right? And isn't that...
Oh, true.
And that's the even smaller size.
Yeah, that's the 5S size.
Yeah. So,
good point.
I think you're right. It's confusing, I think. Although I guess it's a little better now that... Because they used to do multiple of the 9.7-inch. And now they've kind of compressed that because there was the Air, and then there was you get the Air 2 and the Air 3, and then
Oh yeah.
They were kind of doubling up with the old version. So at least I think it's a little simplified in that respect. But you're right. I can't imagine supporting. Although my only thought would be, do you think it's an accessory thing that so many accessories fit 9.7-inch iPads and the general dimensions don't change enough that schools that bought lots of cases or things of that nature, you might not want to mess with the physical size of the device.
Maybe that's an interesting point. I don't know. I would be really interested in knowing what percentage of schools like have an iPad or have had iPads. I have no idea.
Well,
from the media makes it sound like it's very small because they're playing up this like Chromebook angle.
It was. We talked about this on the show last time. It was schools that were Apple schools, so I don't know if that means MacBooks versus iPads. I would assume mostly iPads. And that was like 15-20%, give or take, somewhere in there. So it, not a non-significant amount.
15-20%?
Yeah, it was somewhere in there. I don't have the exact figures in front of me.
Well, in that case, yeah, I think that's possible.
The thing that absolutely baffles me is the $30. It's so confusing because I don't, at that point, either you have to discount it more for schools so it seems like a discount, or why not just make it $2.99 for everybody? Like
oh yeah.
Why am I paying an extra $30 versus schools? That's such a weird.
Here's the thing, though, Sean. $30 times 1,000 is a lot of money. If a school is buying 1,000 iPads, and $30 times 100,000
is even more money.
$1 million is a lot of money for Apple.
I don't disagree, but I'm sure there's some accountant somewhere that told them this was a great idea. I'm just saying, as a consumer, it really is a dumb idea. Because $329 is a weird price. You make it $299 or $350. Why are you splitting the difference, Apple? That's very upsetting. And I just don't. It doesn't. $329 is a very odd price to me. I don't know why you would do that. I get that you're making $30 more per iPad. That is still dumb.
Most consumers don't even know, though, that there's a school price and it's $30 cheaper.
Well, and apparently what I was reading is it's not hard to qualify as a school. Apparently the rules I did not
Is it like qualifying as a church?
Yeah.
Can we just register right now?
Yeah, avoid those taxes, absolutely.
Should we register Don't Panic as a religious institution?
Well, we've been saying for years
with an accompanying school. The Dan Miller School of
Hard Knocks.
Yeah, we can give out those continuing education credits. Absolutely. I will say, fan of the show Percy in our Twitch chat room, thank you, Percy, mentions the $30 discount for schools has been like that for years. It's not new. That would explain a lot.
Is this like the 10% thing?
Yeah. Oh, it is 10%.
Aha!
I did not put that together. Okay, that makes perfect. See, this is why we have a chat room. Good job. Thank you. Damn it. We are not fit to host this program. I didn't get I didn't finish my degree at the Dan Miller School of Hard Knocks.
You did.
Right.
Big mistake.
Oh. Are you sure? Because I thought we awarded you a degree.
Did you? No, I haven't received it. Otherwise, it'd be hanging up on my wall.
I'll have to fix that.
If you send me a certificate, I'll hang it up. Don't tempt me. Anyhow, that is Apple's affordable iPad. You be the judge of how affordable it is. Also announced the Logitech Crayon Stylus.
Called it.
If you think the $99 Apple Pencil was too excited, or $89 for students and teachers, then you might be interested in the Logitech Crayon. It's $49. It will have colorful orange bands that make it a bit more playful. You will still have to charge it via Lightning, and it won't have quite as many features as the Pencil itself.
The Pencil doesn't have that many features.
Well, that's what I'm trying to figure out exactly what.
It's not pressure sensitive.
Is that what it is?
Oh.
Okay. Yeah. So it's a pretty good stylus. I'm sure. Logitech will also offer a $99 iPad case with a keyboard component that is designed to be rugged for kids who beat up on their shit at schools.
Also known as all kids. But who totally called this? Now I remember us talking about this because I was... such a good idea.
But by the way, the Crayon will only be available for schools. You will not be able to buy it as a regular consumer.
Why?
I don't know why Apple does anything anymore. It's crazy. It's crazy. But I agree. I think they would sell a ton of these.
Right. Like, why not?
Because they want you to buy the $100 Apple Pencil. That's the only thing I can think of is they just don't want a discount stylus. Because how many people do actually need the pressure sensitive side? I mean, actually,
Not many people. And I think about all the kids that have iPads at home. And if this was actually more rugged, I could see parents picking it up, even if it's the same price.
Yeah.
Because then they only have to buy one.
I feel like I'm a little disappointed they didn't make any updates to the Apple Pencil itself, because the stupid like cap thing.
It's like an eraser, Colby.
Yeah, it's like an eraser that doesn't do anything and you lose.
How cool would it be if you could turn it around and erase with it? That seems like another no-brainer.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. That'd be great. That'd be wonderful.
That seems very easy to do.
I mean,
you'd
have to have a whole other half of the pencil that is basically a pencil.
No, but well, yeah. I mean, I guess if again you want the pressure, but if you could just put a little stylus nub on the top. I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be super pressure sensitive for erasing, does it? Maybe.
But that would also be really cool if you could like lightly erase something just to fade it out.
Wow, Dan, that sounds super cool.
Right? Colby, how cool does that sound?
Back me up here. It's kind of cool.
A little cool.
A little cool.
I definitely had a one of those like drawing tablet things, not like a fancy one, but like what's the brand that makes the drawing tablets?
Wacom? Wacom?
Yes.
Wacom.
Yes. That one.
Wacom.
Wacom. I had one of those, and the stylus had an eraser like that. It had like the drawing side, and it had like you flipped it over, and it had an eraser. It was cool. It did work most of the time. I wasn't very good at drawing, so.
Well,
Go ahead.
Why don't they just take the pencil and make it so when you flip it over twice, it's got a gyroscope. It knows you flipped it twice, and then it's an eraser, and then you flip it twice again, and it's a pencil.
That would be a very un-Apple thing. They would want it to look and feel like an eraser.
I'm just, usually Apple takes my ideas, so. But anyway.
No, that's only me. I called AirPods, and I called the crayon.
So what's next, Dan?
WWDC's
coming up next in June.
I have to think about it.
All right, you are who's the big Apple guy for Bloomberg who always predicts all their shit? Mark something. Step aside, that guy.
Zara. Who's the guy who like predicted the apocalypse in like medieval times?
Nostradamus, our very own Nostradamus is here, but just for Apple. Not as high stakes, but
right.
We also saw updates at this event to iWork, which I know everyone's super jazzed about. That incorporates support for the Apple Pencil. Pages also includes a digital book creation tool for teachers and students. Numbers can create lab reports. Clips will get kid-friendly filters. Clips is the one where you can edit the video in it. And teachers will be able to mark up documents on pages with the Apple Pencil, similar to how they may grade a paper.
I only use Keynote, but Keynote is the best.
I'm pro Keynote.
I haven't had to write something since college, but in college I would use Pages, and it was fine.
So part of my job is a small part, but part of my job is we do a lot of like document editing, like data sheets and things for our products, and we are always making edits and changes and writing on paper. I would love to just do it all on iPad with a pencil and just be able to write on it. So I think that's a cool, especially for schools. I think that's a great feature.
These sheets are handwritten?
What, the ones I deal with?
Yeah.
No, just the edits on them. So it's like, cross out this word and write something else.
See.
And but just being able to quickly jot it with a pencil right on and then email it. We're literally handing paper between people by hand. I feel
You
like I'm
can
in
do
the
that
Stone
right
Age.
now with Preview. I don't know if it works with the Apple Pencil. But
Well,
you can like draw things.
We're also actually, I think we could do it with Windows because we have Office 365. So I bet we could in Word and Surface tablets if we really wanted to, but we don't. So we're not going to. We also saw some classroom management apps. A new app called Schoolwork will allow teachers to manage their classroom digitally. Teachers can hand out digital assignments to students, such as homework activities and mark due dates on various projects. To accommodate those document attachments, Apple will update student iCloud accounts to include 200 gigabytes of storage by default. For teachers, they will also have their Apple Teacher program that will teach teachers how to use Apple apps in the classroom.
Whew. All right.
So
that's enough.
There you go.
That's enough. I'm done talking about this.
Wow, putting his foot down. All right, Dan. Since you're so bold, where are we going next?
Oh man, there's so many options.
We're gonna be here all night. You've been warned.
You know what? I want to talk about Westworld.
We can talk about Westworld. We can everyone's.
I can't remember. Did you actually watch Westworld, Sean? It's tough to keep track of all
I
the
did.
shows
That's
that
the
you
one
watch.
show I insisted on watching as it aired.
One.
I did. That was because I knew, and I said if I don't watch the first couple episodes, I'll never watch it. So I watched every episode. And you, who recommended Decoding Westworld podcast? Colby, great, very helpful. Enjoying that. Hope that comes back for season 2.
Me too.
So no, I was all in on Westworld.
I want a Decoding Westworld on this news.
Yeah, this is interesting. Well, and I should absolutely preface this by saying this just came out today, and there are a lot of rumors online that they may not actually do this, and it's all a publicity stunt. That being said, the creators of HBO's Westworld announced a novel plan to combat online spoilers. They're going to give away all the big secrets from the show's upcoming second season before a single episode airs. Creators Jonathan Nolan, brother of Christopher Nolan, and Lisa Joy made the announcement today during a Reddit AMA. They said, quote, "If you guys agree, we're going to post a video that lays out the plot and twists and turns of season 2. Everything, the whole sword thing, up front. That way, the members of the community here who want the season spoiled for them can watch ahead and then protect the rest of the community and help to distinguish between what's theory and what's spoiler."
That's
good idea, bad idea.
Feels like some like philosophical construct where you're like they try to see what humans will do under like certain circumstances. One of them being if you could ask to know what like happens, would you like how many people would ask, or would the fact that it's so easily attainable mean that no one will ask? I don't know. I'm not gonna look at it. I was sort of on the fence about looking at Reddit at all for this one. Do you folks look at? Well, I know Sean doesn't really watch TV. Colby, do you look at like Reddits and fan things for TV shows that you watch?
I don't really Reddit. No, I don't usually Google TV shows that I watch. The closest thing I get for Westworld is listening to Decoding Westworld, which like sometimes they talk about that stuff, which I enjoy. I enjoy listening to them talk about it. So I guess
they're also not going to be like talking about like photos that someone took from on top of a mountain of like the filming.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I feel like they talk about like the fan theories, and like sometimes, you know, some of the fan theories turned out to be correct, and some of them turned out to be like out of left field.
Right.
That's what like I enjoyed that part of it. I feel like that the speculation is almost part of the watching experience for me. Like I could see how someone who is like not trying to have like an extra 2 hours of podcasts about the show every week, like is maybe not interested in hearing the spoilers. And I think like, I guess if I wasn't ingesting it that way, it might not be interesting if I just saw on Twitter, like, oh, people think like the man in black is whoever. Maybe that would be a bummer, but I don't know. I like it. I like the speculation. And
I really liked watching it with people because we could speculate in our own little bubble.
Right.
That was fun. If you have the entire world speculating about something I feel like it's much more. It feels like the posts that get a lot of upvotes are probably correct, although that's not true. And then there are things like Game of Thrones that have been going on for decades, and there are still new theories, and it doesn't feel like we know what's right. So I don't know. I think Westworld opened themselves up for this by being like a gotcha mystery show where they want to have all these clues that for you to look back and be like, whoa, it's right, man.
Yeah, I do. I wonder if that'll continue to be the case. It seems pretty. It's like one thing to do that the first season of a show.
Yeah,
but like the second season too. Like I feel like they certainly can't do the same like multiple time spoilers, but like I feel like they can't do the same like multiple timeline-y sort of thing that they did this time. Because like then it'll just be like it's like, oh, this is obviously they're the same. I don't know.
Well,
they're different.
It's kind of that Lost problem where it's you can't twist your way out of a twist, and at some point they have to settle down, otherwise things will get off the rails very quickly. No, this is bonkers. They cannot do this. They can't do this. They can't do this. And you know why? Because I'm not worried.
Tell me why, Sean.
I'm not worried about the Westworld people, Dan, because I can choose not to watch that video, and I wouldn't if they put it out because I don't want to spoil it. The problem is all your dipshit friends who do watch the video and think it's fun to spoil it for you. If there was some sort of law where you get to watch the Westworld spoiler video, but then you are sworn to secrecy. And
you're
like
segregated from the rest of humanity.
Yeah,
that would be a cool
special
TV show.
Camps for the Westworld people. Then yes, I would be for that. But it's so you can't put the genie back in the bottle. And once you announce these, it's one thing if it leaks a little bit, and then you're like, well, it might not be true. It might be true. We don't really know. And that blurry photo you were talking about, well, it's blurry. We think we know. That's part of the fun, but you never know anything for sure. With this, it's like, no, this is what's going to unless. There's no way they're crazy enough to put fake shit in there. No one would ever trust them again if they did that. You cannot put fake stuff.
That would be brilliant.
Where it's like, and then we're watching the show like, none of that shit happened. That was crazy.
I think that's actually a really good idea. Because you could spoil season 1 pretty quickly, and say that you had like done all the plot points, and it would take you like 6 episodes to know whether or not that was true or not. If someone like, I'm not going to say what Westworld's about, but say Westworld's about like the government has made military robots that live in society and they have regular jobs, and then like the whole point of the show is that like everyone's a robot and we're all like in the Matrix. You could imagine a TV show that could plausibly have that plot, not really revealing any of that until over halfway through the episode or season. So I think if it were me, that's what I would do. I would put in this, like, it'd be a 2-minute long video, and I would put something that sounds like plausible, and I would make it so that the first couple episodes do not disprove this. And then screw those people over.
That's so mean. That's so mean, though. And
you know what else is mean, though, Sean? Spoiling the show for people. As you just pointed out.
That's what I'm saying. Then at that point, you just don't do it. I mean, I think it would be funny to piss a lot of people off.
Cosmic justice.
But god damn, your fans would. There's no way your fans would ever come back to you after you pulled a stunt like that. No way. No way.
The ones who didn't watch the video would.
Well, true. And do you really? The people who did watch the video, do you really want them as your fans?
Right.
Do you need them?
This is a way to weed them out.
Yes. Is this like some Willy Wonka-esque, like test to see if you're worthy of inheriting the chocolate factory?
Yes. Exactly.
Yep. And if you watch the video, you're locked out of your HBO account forever.
It just says, "Good day, sir."
Yeah. You lose. Good day. Yes. No, I'm going to say right here, right now on the show, recorded for all of time, there's no fucking way they do this.
All right.
0% chance they do this. They are not going to do this.
Both versions or?
Both versions. They will do nothing about it. No way. Absolutely no way. It's not going to. This is all a publicity stunt, and good for them because we're talking about it on our not at all popular podcast. But there's no way. There's no way. There's no way. It's so insane.
John, are you a betting man?
I'm a betting man. I've lost bets to you on the show before, Dan. So I'm ready for
I remember what they were because I feel like I need to be cashing in. But let's make a bet.
I just remember we bet $5 once, and I remember I did have to pay you that $5.
I don't remember. Let's make a bet. Want to make another $5 bet?
I'll make another $5 bet.
I'll bet that they'll do this.
All right, you're on.
What are Sean's betting they're not going to do this at all.
And I'm betting that they will make a video that purports to describe the plot of season 2.
Yes, whether they're real or not, you get the $5. But no, absolutely not. Not going to happen. The only thing I will say is I think I get credit only if it is so obviously, if it's Rick-rolling level fake. Uh-huh. If it turns into a publicity stunt joke where it's like, all the robots are really, the Wall-E or some crazy, I don't know. But it's just so outlandish. Okay, I'm going to take credit for that one. But if it's purported to be real spoilers, real in quotations, then yes, Dan, $5 is yours. Not going to happen.
Okay.
Shut that shit down. Okay, let's see. Let's check the clock. We've got time for one more story here. I know there are a lot to choose from. They're a thrill.
Turns out fake gambling is actually real gambling?
Yes, sir.
I'm not familiar with this story.
Oh, boy.
Wait, did we just gamble?
This is a deep cut.
Was that fake gambling or real gambling that we just did?
No, that was real. That was a real wager.
That was real.
That was real. Yeah, I hope the courts aren't watching. No, this is just an interesting story I found, compliments of GeekWire. There's a company called Big Fish Games, and they have a game called Big Fish Casino. And it's one of those really generic casino apps that, for some reason, people use. A federal appeals court ruled Wednesday that the Big Fish Casino game constitutes illegal online gambling according to Washington state law, in a case that could have major implications for the casual games markets. So the way it works, it's a series of games like slots, blackjack, and roulette that use virtual chips. The chips have no monetary value themselves, but players can only play as long as they have the chips. When they run out, they have to wait until the game offers more free chips, or they can buy more chips with real money and jump back in.
Oh.
Now, but their theory is, because you can never actually cash the chips out, so the game company would say, well, that's not really gambling. You can buy more chips, but it's a game. Just like you can buy crates of loot and other things, whatever.
Right.
But there is a line in the Washington state gambling laws that refers to, quote, something of value. If you're gambling something of value, that's considered gambling. Now, the game company says, well, they're fake coins. They aren't worth anything. But the woman who sued Big Fish disagrees. She spent more than $1,000 on these virtual chips and argued that they represent something of value. Quote, the judge said, without virtual chips, a user is unable to play Big Fish Casino's various games. Thus, if a user runs out of virtual chips and wants to continue playing, he or she must buy more chips to have the privilege of playing the game. Likewise, if a user wins chips, the user wins the privilege of playing the game without charge. In sum, these virtual chips extend the privilege of playing the game. Cool. Hence something of value.
So, are other games, does this affect, obviously this game is, simulating actual gambling, but how it seems like it still applies to something like I don't know, Farmville or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna according to this article, it's gonna bounce around in the courts. It's gonna go from appeal court to appeal court. I mean, this is far from over, but if it were to stand, essentially any game with a concept of a virtual currency that either reloads over time for free or can be purchased to continue playing might fall under the statute. Now, of course, this is specifically Washington state law. So it's theoretical they could ban certain things from Washington but continue it in other states. But it is an interesting question that, is this or is this not gambling?
And do they have a definition of gambling?
They do. It's not the fully fleshed out in this article. They really focus on the something of value argument.
Right.
Um,
Because I feel like a lot of games, I mean, you get, I don't know. I guess the question of what is gambling is like probably pretty well fleshed out compared to some of these.
Well, apparently it varies state to state. I mean, technically, your March Madness bracket, if you're gambling money on it, I mean, technically that is illegal gambling. You know?
Right.
That's got a little more real money on the line. But there are no specific federal laws governing online gambling, so it really is done this right now at the state level.
Now, here's an interesting take on this. Imagine the same company, same setup, except you can't buy the currency. But you could trade it with someone in-game. You could give them, like, one of your masks or something for some in-game currency. And then, of course, someone could set up, like, a black market where they, you Venmo them $100 and you get coins. Like, this is how it worked in, like, World of Warcraft and stuff.
Yeah.
People would go on eBay and do this. Would that be illegal gambling? It's valuable because people are attaching value to it.
Yeah, but that's just a transaction at that point, right? I think it's because you're using these chips to play the... if World of Warcraft required you had a minimum number of chips to continue... You know what I mean? It's because you need the chips to continue playing the game.
Right.
They, as they say, extend the privilege of playing the game, hence creating that value. So I think just straight transactionally, you'd probably be okay. What this really does is it just challenges the freemium model, essentially.
Yeah, or at least
It's good.
I feel like there are different freemium models, right? Like there are freemium models where like you can indefinitely use some service for something, but it's like limited in some way or another. Like I don't know, like Dropbox. Like you can use your 2 gigabytes of storage indefinitely. You can just always use that, but if you want more, you have to pay for it.
Yep.
Versus this thing where you can like, or games like that where you can like, I mean, I guess it's like limited in time. Maybe it's just I feel like I have read things that suggest that, slot machines and like those sorts of games are pressing the same sorts of like psychological buttons, right? Like the flashy dopamine hit thing.
Mm-hmm.
Which is interesting. Like in a way, like it's not that different. You're still, it's not different at all, really.
This is how all games work.
Yeah.
At a certain level, like, oh, it really feels good when I like win the game. I'm just gonna keep playing Overwatch until I win.
Right.
Just one more win, and then I'm done for the night.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true.
Yep. The only issue comes in is that when you're playing with virtual currency, that's considered something of value, even if it's not tied to a real world currency.
Right. What about time? Is time something of value?
Nope. Nope. That's been proven.
It's deep. That's deep. We got to move on to picks before.
Bail out.
Hit eject.
Panic.
Picks, the part of the show where each of us brings something we want to share with the world, and we've got some good ones here. I think Dan gets to go first this week. Dan never gets to go first.
Yeah.
What's up, Dan? What's good in Dan land?
All right, so on Due by Friday, this awesome podcast that Sean doesn't listen to,
True.
They briefly mentioned that, like, there's this cool new documentary on Netflix about cults. And I was like, that sounds interesting. It sounds like they really enjoyed it. So I looked it up. It's called Wild Wild Country, and I put it on, and I couldn't look away. I haven't been this glued to a documentary. Like Icarus, I recommended a couple weeks ago. That was a good documentary. but I didn't feel like transfixed by it in the same way I did with this. And it reminded me of when I watched like Making a Murderer and some of those things where it's just it's dramatic beyond, you couldn't have made this story up. And the characters are so insane. And they're real people, and they talk to a bunch of them, and they're, living their lives. The ones who, are still alive to live them. I don't want to give too much away. If looking at like people in a cult is something that fascinates you, and hearing them talk about how they ended up in that situation and how they got out of it and what it felt like to be there, and seeing like the videos of the cult leaders speaking and being really like personable and what's the word, like not egotistical.
No,
yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
yeah.
Like cult leadery.
Yeah, what's the
like magnetic.
Yeah. Like politicians have this quality also.
Charismatic.
Yes. Thank you. Check it out. Wild Wild Country, 6 episodes, an hour each. They'll fly by.
It's so funny. Netflix is pumping out so much content these days. Like for 5 minutes, this is all my Twitter feed was talking about, and then it was gone, and they were moved on to the next thing.
It's been out for almost a month, and I saw it in like my recommended things. I was like, yeah, it sounds like something about like
horses.
The Midwest. Yeah. I was like, not interested. Ugh.
Neat. Well, good. I look forward. I was trying to think of what the most balls to the wall documentary I've ever seen is. Like just the most insane. Maybe the Jinx was pretty balls to the wall.
Yes, it was like the Jinx.
Yeah.
The Jinx in Making a Murderer.
If you say that, then yeah, okay. Now you've really got my attention.
Sean, do you remember that documentary we watched about the Paul McCartney conspiracy or whatever?
I do.
That was pretty balls to the wall.
False Paul. He was False Paul. Yeah, I do remember that. The Lost Tapes of George Harrison. If that ever gets back up on Netflix, don't watch it.
I watched a documentary. It was on Netflix years and years and years ago. I don't know if it still is. About Americans who defected to North Korea during the Korean War, and they interview them. That one was pretty unlookawayable also.
Whoa.
Very cool. Colby, what have you been up to?
Far Cry 5. It came out 2 weeks ago. It's super fun. It's like exactly.
It's super fun.
It's fun in the exact same way that Far Cry 4 was fun. So like, if you didn't like Far Cry 4, you probably won't like Far Cry 5. But if you did, it's a great time.
Is the co-op more interesting at all?
I don't know. I haven't co-opted yet with anyone. I suspect it's the same. Like you do the same. Like you can do all the like side missions and stuff, but maybe not the story missions.
Mm-hmm.
But strictly speaking, I don't know because I haven't done it yet. But I like it. Speaking of, well, actually, weirdly enough, speaking of cults and wasting your time playing video games, it's very topical.
Oh, it is?
Well, the bad guys.
Oh, right, the bad. Yes, the story in Far Cry 5.
Yeah.
I think I've been inspired to do a new sub-segment in the Picks segment where whenever any of us picks anything that's available on Amazon, let's look at the 1-star reviews. Today's 1-star review of Far Cry 5 comes from user Kevin Bell, who bought it on PlayStation 4 and review titled 1 star. He wrote, I ordered it and it came in Spanish. I'm confused. Help. Good luck, Kevin. We're rooting for you. Anyway, very cool. Far Cry 5. Get it for your platform of choice.
What's your pick, Sean?
Oh, Dan, I thought you'd never ask. My pick is Bleacher Report. I know you guys are big sportos, big sports fans.
Right.
And that means that we're about to enter one of the most exciting periods of sports during any year. That's because
baseball regular season?
Not only baseball regular season, Dan, but we're about to kick off the NBA playoffs and the Stanley Cup. Championship.
Oh my God.
At the same time, it's going to be nonstop sports action. And you're asking yourself, Sean, how am I supposed to keep up with all the sport? And the goddamn NFL draft is at the end of the month. It's going to be crazy.
Ugh.
There are a lot of ways you can get your sports. I find the best sports alert app and the fastest is the Bleacher Report app. If you know Bleacher Report, they're actually owned by Turner, who owns TBS and TNT and the big Turner Communications. This is their sports brand. Actually, friend of, I really don't think I can call him friend of the show, but I can call him friend of us. Eric Vandervoort works for, he works for Turner. I don't know if he works for Bleacher Report specifically or not, but he is a writer over there. You should go check out his stuff. He's very. I actually saw an article he wrote on Twitter that he didn't. Someone else randomly tweeted about, and I saw it. I saw the byline, Eric Vandervoort. So I know that.
Oh, that's
guy.
awesome.
Anyway, yes, check out their mobile app. You can put in all your favorite teams and your favorite sports, and you get the alerts on your phone. They're very fast to put things up with very interesting stories as well. Plus, they do that nice thing that not enough apps do. They enabled in the notifications where there can be a video embedded in the notification.
Yes.
And nobody does it, but it's a really cool feature. They do it with a lot of their stuff. So that is a big bonus. So you don't have to actually open the app to view the video.
I've never seen anything like that. I had no idea that could happen.
Nest does it, and Citizen does it also. Yeah. But those are the only two I've seen do it.
Yeah.
I signed up for a Nextdoor account hoping to observe some Nextdoor shenanigans like they talk about on Dubai Friday, and nothing happened.
It's only happened to me that one time when someone asked someone to come over. Maybe I shouldn't say that'll compromise my OPSEC.
Yeah, we can do that. Gary will come snooping around. Yeah, no, mine's very light. The other day, someone was asking. There were a lot of hypodermic needles around their house, and they were wondering why. I said, I don't guess this is good of mine.
I called the hospital. No, they said there weren't supposed to be any hypodermic needles in my neighborhood.
Yeah, yes, exactly. So Bleacher Report, it's an app. It's on Android and iOS. You can check that out if you're looking for good sports news on the go. That wraps up this episode, guys, unless you have anything else you'd like to say to the world.
No. Is there any, do we have any exciting tech news to look forward to?
No.
Okay.
No, it's pretty quiet. I mean, there's the ongoing whatever crazy shenanigans Facebook will get up to in the next couple weeks. We kind of breezed through it this week, but yeah. So there's that. As far as I know, we're not really in any. WWDC is probably the next big event. Microsoft usually does an event in the May time frame, so that'll be coming up. But I don't think we're past Mobile World Congress and all that. So I don't think there'll be too much. But whatever happens, we'll be here to cover it.
That's right.
I do want to let folks know, I'd be remiss if I didn't plug some of our other stuff, including Game Nights at GameNights.tv. Us playing Dungeons & Dragons. Sadly, I did not get there'll be a new episode up at some point this week. But the current episode that's up, you can go check it out. We fight a giant lobster monster. It's a lot of fun. It's not really a spoiler alert, but it's a lot of fun. And
Colby, can you release a Westworld style recap video that we could watch if we want to that says everything that's going to happen?
Yes.
Yes.
I can.
Yes. A spoiler. Can't be any crazier than what actually happens coming up. So,
I mean, if we're being honest, it would be hard for me to predict exactly what was going to happen.
That's half the fun.
That's what would make it all the more impressive. Actually, you should do that, and then we'll listen to it at the end and see how
if you guessed right.
That's a good idea, actually. Here's what's gonna happen in the D&D arc. We'll see how off the rails you get. I like that.
Yeah, so we'll definitely be getting off the rails at GameNights.tv. You can also check out Up for Debate, the show I do with Matt. We've got a barn burner of an episode coming later this week. We've read Ready Player One. Now we watch the movie. Spoiler alert, neither was very good. But we're going to talk about it at upfordebate.tv.
Is that Matt's opinion also?
Matt, so we were sending links of reviews we wanted each other to read before the show. And Matt wrote, and I direct quote from Slack, "I fear we were far too kind to this book." And I'll remind you to those who listen to the episode, we didn't like the book. So Matt's definitely has some opinions, and I don't think they're positive. So,
All right.
no,
I'm excited.
no, the movie wasn't that bad, but we're going to get into it. So you can check that out at upfordebate.tv. We will record that on Thursday. So it'll be coming out probably around Friday. You can check that out. All right, that's going to do it for this show. Of course, our website is don'tpanic.io. It's got all of our episodes, the audio, the video, all the pics. Go there, get the links. That way, if you buy Far Cry 5, we get your Amazon referral link, and those pennies really add up. You can also subscribe to the show anywhere you get podcasts, on Overcast, iTunes, and all the other great places. Video version on YouTube at youtube.com/don'tpanicshow. And, of course, you can follow us at Don't Panic Show on Twitter, and email us don'tpanicshow@gmail.com. And yeah, that's, I think, just about it. We will be back next week with more tech news and good times. But until then, on behalf of Colby and Dan, I am Sean. Thanks, everybody, for joining us live tonight and out there on the recorded version. We appreciate it as always, and we'll see you next time for more Don't Panic.